So another tough week, too many months, too many deaths, and there is no end. You know, we always love to connect the parsha of the week with the real parsha of the week, what happened in the week. And like you, I have social media, so I see pastors and obviously rabbis, and one rabbi say, no, we have the answer is in the parsha of the week. It says, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. So what means I need to take 3 Palestinian kids, burn them, and send them in conflict. So this is what we should do. So this is not who we are. But the parsha of the week, which speaks about justice, can still be an inspiration for us. Yes, justice is what we will pursue, and I'm sure when the day comes, we will do it for those who, with their own hand, killed our little kids. I was thinking about the Bibas obsessively since October 7th. I even remember vividly a class, December, January, after the attack, with kids. And sometimes kids believe that because you're a rabbi, you know more. So one of them asked me, I remember the reason, the Bibas, her parents are Silverman. The Silverman were born in Argentina. They have tons of cousins in Argentina. So we all know them. So every Jew is dear to me. Every human being is dear to me. But when you live another kilometer from them, everybody, so you know them, you know of them, you know where they made Aliyah, you know who their friends are. So the little Bibas kids were adopted for many of those Argentinian Jews that built kibbutzim, etc. So I follow them and their family and their cry and their trips all over the world to ask for justice. So I remember telling the kids here in, I think it was J2M, and one asked me, do you think they're alive? Another one asked me, maybe one is alive and one is dead. And they did to the mother what Sophie's choice. Remember the story? You pick one and I kill you one in front of you. Maybe, one asked me, maybe they are raising the baby in the radical Muslim faith, and in 20 years from now, they send him to a kibbutz to kill, so they will have the feel. Maybe he's in Iran, they're in Iran. Or maybe they were sold as sex slaves. So now we know the end of the story. The message I'm trying to convey is that for many months, they were alive for me. And trying to think a little bit about this morning, a text showed up in my phone. It's a mother's reaction, a mother that knew them, to Shiri Biba's last minutes with their kids in Israel, the famous image that you all have. There is one scene, she said, from October 7 that left me literally unable to sleep. It's the scene that I'm sure is seared into the minds of Jewish mothers everywhere. I see Shiri with Ariel under one arm and Kfir under the other, covered in a blanket. I see it all the time, her eyes wild and in seeming disbelief of what is occurring. That bright orange hair, the tiny heads of the boy. I am to a mother, a Jewish mother. On October 7, 2023, my babies, my boys, were 1 and 3 years old. As I watched the scene of this mother and her sons being taken by Hamas into Gaza, one obsessive thought was in the forefront of my mind. Shiri's arms. Her arms must hurt. I imagined the weight of my own sweet babies in my arms, both at once. Those little beings aren't as light as they look. I remember my attempt to carry them both down the stairs just the day before. We made it. But I remember the relief I felt as I let them topple from my arms into the soft couch. I looked into Shiri's bright eyes staring back at me and felt the weight of those red-haired boys in her arms. I ruminated on how difficult it must have been for her to hold them firmly and close. And I wondered how long she exhibited that physical strength. I knew that as long as she was in the presence of Hamas, of monsters, she would keep those boys as close as a mother could. I felt the strain on her shoulders, the near collapse of her forearms, the shaking in her fingers. I marveled at the physical feat she accomplished and tried to imagine the ways in which she would remain strong for her boys. It was not a question of if, it was a question of how Shiri, in the darkest of places, would attempt to bring light to her boys. When I struggled to sleep at night in the immediate wake of October 7th, I will empathize. I will feel the weight of those children. I will yearn to comfort Shiri and tell her we were proud of her. I knew I wasn't alone, and I wish she could hear the silent scream of a million of mothers telling Shiri to hold on. The way we have experienced the fallout of October 7 as a people has been different, but I wonder in writing this how the mothers have experienced it. I wonder if, like me, they have attached to one particular narrative, that of a captive mother and her babies. I wonder if those mothers like me have wondered whether that family unit was in tunnels or was existing in the light in an unfamiliar and dangerous home. I thought of how I might explain it to my children if I were Shiri, pushing down my own fear and terror and leaning into what crumbs of positivity I could. Would I tell the boys we were on an adventure? Would I tell them we were just waiting to come home to Daddy? Would I explain it in terms of good guys and bad? Would the babies be Batman? Would Mommy be Wonder Woman? How would I explain pangs of hunger? How would I explain the scary sounds outside our door? I wish so deeply to reach my hand and hold hers, to give her my strength. I wish to collect the tears of all the Jewish mothers, our screams, our fierce protective instincts, our powerful feminine energies, and to place them in front of her and offering a sign, a ray of hope. As we wait for the boys, Biba's boys, and the lioness of a mother, I'm preparing myself. When I pick my boys up from school this afternoon, I will be holding their small, fragile hands, kissing their impossible soft cheeks, ruffling their hair, one curly-haired, one pin straight, and will be loving them as fiercely as ever. Loving them as I simultaneously picture Shiri, ruffling the fiery red hair of the boys before they were taken in the light of Israel's sun, and after they were taken into darkness. This is the text I got. So here I am in my office, and I mentioned that yesterday night, so I apologize for if you heard it yesterday. I didn't know how to conclude the text. I was stuck. I said, what do I tell you? I tell you that this is part of the Jewish history, that we need to, we already went through this and we will go to this. Now, we know, you know that already. We're saying this for 16 months and we will say it till the end of our history, because this is who we are. I had yesterday a dialogue with the Sofer, the scribe who came to write our October 8 Torah, and he said that some non-Jew asked him, I cannot believe what's going on. I say, hey, you cannot believe because you never read Jewish history. If you read Jewish history, you will believe it. So here I am, it's 20 p.m., Shabbat started an hour and a half later. I say, I need to finish my work for Saturday morning. And I did something that I never did before. And I asked artificial intelligence, how were Shiri's and her boys' last minutes? what happened? Because I couldn't imagine them. And this is what artificial intelligence, because human intelligence couldn't get it answered. There is a small dark room. Shiri Bibas holds her 2 children, Ariel, 4 years old, and Kfir, 9 months. Outside chaos, rage, gunshots, screams, explosion. But in her arms, there is still a moment of love and protection. Ariel, whispering, scared, Ima, Ima, I'm scared. Shiri, kissing his head, I know my love, but I'm here. I won't let go. Ariel, when are we going home? Abba is waiting for us. Shiri, closing her eyes, her voice trembling. Soon, my child, very soon. Kfir babbles softly, too little to understand. Shiri holds him closer, shielding him with her arm. Her breathing is shaky, but her love is unshaken. Ariel, Ima, why are people shouting outside? Shiri, because they are bad people, my love. But don't let them scare you. Look into my eyes. Ariel is looking at her, tears welling up. I love you so much, Ima. Shiri, I love you more, always, to the sky and beyond. Kfir whimpers softly and she kisses his head with infinite tenderness. Outside, footsteps draw closer. Danger is just a breath away. But in this last moment, in this fragile bubble of love, a mother holds her children with everything she has, because in her love, they are still free. May the soul of Ariel Kfir and now Shiri Bibas continue to give courage to the people who remain alive in near Oz. I don't know how, to her husband, and to us people Israel, the ones that do whatever we can to let them know that they are not alone in the fight between light and darkness, good and evil. Shabbat Shalom.